Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of The Imperfect Dietitian. In this video, I have to admit this is a reshoot because a few months ago I shot a video on Lyme disease and I misspoke a few times by pronouncing it Lyme's disease. Now I'm going to do the reshoot on this because I want to be respectful to those people out there who suffer from this terrible ailment, and I just wanted to respect them and make this correction. So there, the cat's out of the bag. This video is going to be my input on people who suffer from Lyme disease. And I think there's some takeaways for everybody on this one, because one of the most important aspects when we're dealing with Lyme disease is to reduce inflammation. Most of the problems associated with Lyme disease are complications that cause discomfort. Nerve, tissue, joint pain, aches, and things like that. And believe it or not, most of that is an inflammatory response to the disease. So what can you do to lower inflammation naturally? Well, for many people who have Lyme disease, over-the-counter pain relievers and non-steroidal anti-inflammatories are things better known as like NSAIDs. Those are things like Advil, ibuprofen and whatnot. But we can do a lot with diet and sleep and exercise in order to also help reduce inflammation. So one of the biggest tips in order to provide optimum nutrition for everybody, but especially for those people who are dealing with Lyme disease, is lots of vegetables. Now, lots of vegetables provide, healthy fermentable fibers and resistant starch for your gut flora. So we know that the immune system and inflammation can be somewhat regulated by the health of your gut flora. But also, fruits and vegetables provide a copious amount of vitamins and minerals, which are also essential. Now, of course, when it comes to nutrition, we can talk about the things that can reduce inflammation from the things that we consume. But also we have to take into consideration, well, what's out there that we do eat that can raise inflammation? Well, there's a few things out there. First and foremost, sugar. Sugar and refined grains should be avoided. Also, those vegetable oils, okay? To be honest with you, there's no such thing as vegetable oil. There's no broccoli, there's no spinach, there's no asparagus oil, but there is corn oil, there's soybean oil, there's canola oil, sunflower and safflower oil, and those are all seeds, believe it or not. So by eliminating different vegetable oils from the diet can also be beneficial in reducing inflammation. From there, you kind of have to figure out what works for you, but some of the things that I see in my practice that can create inflammation or problems in people in general, but also with individuals with Lyme disease, is dairy. And so you can also try eliminating dairy for 30 days to see how that can have an effect. Gluten's a big one. There's a lot of research out there showing that gluten has a very mild inflammatory response when we consume that. But beyond that, other resources that you can look into are, I'm a big fan of Dr. Terry Wahls. Now, she came up with something called the Wahls Protocol, which was originally designed for individuals suffering from MS, multiple sclerosis. But in this case, I think the Wahls Protocol can be used for lots of different inflammatory and autoimmune diseases. So although Lyme disease is not an autoimmune disease, it's a bacterial infection, by reducing inflammation, by following that protocol, it could provide a pretty significant relief for you. Because relying on over-the-counter medications to deal with the discomfort and pain associated with Lyme disease, that's just going to get you into trouble down the road, and I think that there's better options out there. Now, beyond nutrition, you can look at things in the supplement world. So probiotics are key. Prebiotics can be very helpful as well. Now, prebiotics are, again, those fermentable fibers and resistant starch that your gut flora feed on. And so the happier they are, the happier you are in general. But also sleep. If you're not sleeping well, there is an inflammatory response to a poor night's sleep. And then, things like stress, which also can correlate or go hand in hand with poor night's sleep, but reducing stress and getting a good night's rest can have a big, strong impact on reducing inflammation. So that can be very helpful. Beyond that, we know that the right amount of exercise can also have an anti-inflammatory effect. So there's a bit of a bell curve on all of this, but with exercise, there's too little or too much. So finding that, what works for you. So if you're sedentary now and you're not moving around a lot, especially if you're being debilitated by Lyme disease and the discomforts that are associated with it, just starting with something gentle and restorative like going for a walk or some gentle yoga. Beyond that, you can get into maybe some light jogging. I am a big fan of resistance exercises, so body weight exercises, and maybe using bands and progressing into using free weights or something like that could be helpful. Now again, you don't want to overdo it, because if we're working out too much, there is that sweet spot that that too much exercise can interfere with sleep and create inflammation that might flame up the discomfort associated with Lyme disease. So, that's kind of it. It's just a really quick and dirty little video on how to reduce inflammation, especially associated with Lyme disease. I don't think a lot of people out there look at an anti-inflammatory approach from a lifestyle perspective in order to help them manage their symptoms. So please, if you have any questions, let me know. Please post any questions or comments below this video, and I'd be happy to respond. And again, I apologize for my previous video by misspeaking and pronouncing it Lyme's disease. It's just an old habit. It was kind of sloppy of me. I do apologize. But I'm out there to try to help and trying to do the right thing and providing a service for people out there that are suffering, because I think that there's a whole world of knowledge and information out there that we're not all necessarily aware of. So good sleep, good nutrition, the right amount of physical activity, and good stress reducing techniques can change your world. So thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.